All right, let's talk about constructor functions. So let's say that you are building an object. You're building a car object, right? So how would you do that if you want to represent a car? Well, I'm on the console, so I'm just going to say car equals to new object. And car can have a make, which can be, let's say, Honda. And car can also have a model, let's say LE. And I can print out the car, and it's going to tell me that this is an object which has two properties called make, which is Honda, and model, which is LE. And this is okay. It will definitely work, and you can pass car object around and it will just work. The problem is that this is it's not really structured correctly, right? I mean, this car object or this car is type of an object, but it doesn't provide you with the properties to store, make, and model. You kind of like created these properties on the fly, meaning anyone can also say car.social security number and whatever the social security number is. And now car can have a social security number. And you cannot really escape that in the JavaScript world because JavaScript is a dynamic language. So you can just attach anything to anything. But we can make it a little bit better, meaning instead of creating an object, we can create an instance of a car object or a car class or a car function. So for that, let's go ahead and create a function which is called car. And that's pretty much it. All right. So now if I want to create a car which is of type this, what I want to do is I'm just going to say car equals to new car. And oops, I have to actually type the code over here. All right. So there's no car, obviously, because we haven't really run our code yet. So let's go ahead and do that in the JS fiddle. Car equals to new car and console.log car. So if I run this, you're going to see that it logs out an object called car, and this car doesn't really have any properties because you haven't really set anything, right? At this point, you can go ahead and do the old thing that you were doing, car.make equals to Honda and car.model equals to LE. And you can run it. And now if you run it, it's going to say, okay, the make is Honda and model is LE. Now, if you need both of these things, make and model, to initialize a car, it would be a good idea to pass these things to the car when you are creating the car. This is called the constructor. So instead of setting up over here, what we can do is we can say make and model. So every time I am creating an object of car, I will have to pass in a make and a model. But what do I do with make and model? I have to store it somewhere, right? This dot make equals to make and this dot model equals to model. Now what is this? All right. Think of this as if you are driving in a car and I'm sitting on the back seat and I say, wow, this is going really fast. You will understand what I'm talking about if you're the driver. If I say, this is going really fast, you know that I'm talking about the car itself, right? Because the car is actually going really fast. So this is all about the context where you are talking about. Right now, I am inside the car constructor. So this is referring to the car. If I am outside the car constructor and I just say console.log this will refer to the window object. So let's go ahead and run this. Let's go ahead and, all right. So you can see that this line gets executed, line number 1. And right now I'm at the completely like that, the top level. I'm not inside anything. So, but I have to be inside something. and that something is the parent of everything, which is window object, right? If I console log, maybe over here, console.log this, oops, then you're going to see that this is going to say that this is a car. But first, we have to make the car. So let's go ahead and do that. Var car equals to new car. You can't really do that now, because now you're saying that whenever I'm making car, I have to pass in two things, make and model. So let's go ahead and pass in make. So let's say Honda and model. All right. Now let's go ahead and run it. And you can see the first console.log, line number 1, prints out the window object, but the second one is executed from inside the car function or the constructor, and this over here refers to the car because we are inside the car constructor, the function, and that's why it printed out the car object. Now your car object is actually initialized. I don't think you can access it over here. Well, that's a different one. But car object is initialized, and you can say car.make and car.model, and all of these things have been already initialized because you have already passed in, and they are part of the car object. So they become the properties of the car object.